Welcome to the Real Estate Pros of Houston podcast, where host Mark Zachary talks to high-producing real estate agents in the Houston area about their story and what makes them so successful. Each episode, our guests will tell you what they're doing that works and what makes them so successful, as well as insights that will help you take your business to the next level. Now, here's Mark delivering a true real estate pro of Houston.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the next episode of Real Estate Pros in Houston. And man, we are having a great time doing this podcast, and I hope that you're getting a lot out of it and getting to meet some of the best agents in town. And today we have a friend of mine. I think we're on Facebook, but I've got to check that out. But Janice is a very well-respected agent in the area, and we only put people on here that we think are cool and fun to work with, and cool and fun for you to work with as the general public. And Janice, we welcome you today, and her last name is Janice Breau, so that's very easy. So Janice, thanks for joining us today.
Well, thanks for having me, Mark. I'm truly honored to be here with you.
Well, I appreciate that, and I mean it when we say we only put cool people on here, cool and fun people. So, this business can be stressful enough. So, I think I learned the hard way. Hey, don't try to work with everybody in the world. Work with the people that you want to do business with and that you have fun with. So, anyway, I know you're a great realtor. You're very well respected in this area. And we just appreciate you coming on and taking I say 30 minutes, but you're going to be shocked, like I said, how fast 30 minutes go.
Oh, yeah, it does. I believe it.
So tell me a little about your story. Where are you from? How long you been here? Tell me a little bit about your family. And, we'll get into the boring business stuff later, but I want to know more about you and I'll ask some additional questions about personal questions and things like that. And but yeah, just tell me your story.
Okay. I was born in Anaheim, California.
Okay.
My parents then moved us to El Paso, Texas when I was 5. And that's
you got to Texas as fast as you could.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, actually, Mom wanted to stay there, but my father had a knack for wanting to move it seemed like every 30 seconds. So, because we moved actually back and forth twice.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So, yeah, that was interesting, but that's for another day.
Is that the next podcast?
Yeah, that's for another podcast.
Okay.
So essentially that's where I grew up until I moved 2008. I met my husband in El Paso. He happened to be working a contract job at the refinery there because he's in oil and gas.
Okay.
And we met there and then moved to Houston in 2008 and been here ever since.
Okay.
Been in the Katy area now since 2017. I'm sorry, 2017. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because we love Katy. I mean, we love Katy so much so that when we lived in the city in Houston, we found ourselves visiting Katy every weekend.
Really?
It was, yeah, I don't even know how to explain it. And then we finally and then 8 years later, we were like, what are we doing?
Why don't we just go out there?
Why don't we just move to Katy? So, and so we did. And then he had gotten laid off at one point. We moved to San Antonio for a bit.
That's very, very pretty.
A hot minute. And then we came back and landed in Old Town Katy, and we love it here. So, yeah.
I tell you, I love the Houston area. When me and my wife got married, we were thinking, I grew up in Austin, and, we always said we'd move to San Antonio, we'd move to Dallas, we'd move to, Well, those were the main two, but we said we would never, ever move to Houston. And I love it here. We've been here since 2006, and
Okay.
I just love Houston. There's so much to do here, and I love going down to Katy. I go down there almost every Friday, I guess, to have lunch with a title rep. And
That's what happened to us. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's just this whole area. There's just so much to do. And I was talking to someone the other day. You can jump in the car at 9 o'clock on Saturday morning and be down at the coast in an hour and a half and spend the day there and come back.
Yep.
So
Yep. You
so
can't beat
just
it. We have
so
everything
convenient.
around us. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're lucky in that respect, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So what about the business side of things? When did you get into real estate and do you work on any particular area, or you cover the God bless your heart if you do cover the whole city of Houston?
No, 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 no. I don't do that. I actually started in real estate in 2015.
Okay.
And I did it more so part-time than
Hmm.
I did full-time for a bit. And then in the course of that, over the years, I uh, had, tried title for a bit.
Okay.
So I've got a little background in that. So I feel like I tend to know more than the next person that may not have been immersed in,
Yeah.
that field of the real estate industry. And then I went back to real estate, and then we moved. And then it wasn't until, I'll be honest, Mark, it wasn't until we came back to Katy that I got very serious about real estate,
Okay.
like very serious. I mean, just going all in full time, because I come from the nutrition and chiropractic field prior to getting into real estate. So I was still dabbling in that a bit when I was, practicing the real estate part time. So I hadn't quite made the full jump, I guess you could say. I
Mhm.
learned a lot though, even though I was doing it part time. I constantly kept myself educated all the time, all the time. If I wasn't, helping somebody out on one transaction, I was constantly in learning mode because I didn't want to be caught in a situation where I didn't know the answer to something just because I wasn't working full time at that time.
Mhm.
I felt like, well, no, I still need to hold myself up to a standard, right? So, and that's what I did.
So were
So,
you getting training from like title companies, or was
yeah,
your
I was going to as many classes as I could, wherever anyone was holding something, whether it was a builder or a title company, like you said, or wherever else. They're held sometimes at restaurants. And then there's sponsors and whatnot. I was always looking for education
Mhm.
everywhere, everywhere, because I'm always in education mode, whether it's real estate or still learning about the aspects of the nutrition world too.
Mhm.
I'm still very passionate about that too. So
Well,
um,
kudos to you for going out and trying to find that stuff, because I do some training of classes as well, and that's a common concern that I hear from a lot of agents. Hey, I just don't feel like I'm getting enough training, whether it's at their broker shop or
yes.
whatever. But there I don't think there's a lack of training out there. It just depends on, are you going to go, and are you going to get up and be there at 9 or 10 o'clock, whenever it is, if it's being offered. But so kudos to you for getting out there and doing it, because not teaching classes, we're lucky if we're having 5, 10 people show up. So very good of you to go do that. Be proactive that way.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be, you have,
Yeah.
especially in this business, you have to be.
Right.
But it's so we moved back in 2019, and that's when I I kind of, put in my head, okay, we gotta go full in on this now, because this is another aspect of me that you probably don't know. When we had moved away, I completely stepped away from real estate, even part-time, altogether. And I thought, my love of animals, I'm just going to start pet sitting.
Really?
Well, and that blew up. So here I was with, my little pet sitting business. And then I was able at one point to hire, two lovely young ladies who I knew from the real estate world, meaning it was agents and their daughters that I was, employing. And I did it like that because I trusted them.
Mm-hmm.
I went the route of going out there and hiring, some stranger. It was a terrible experience. And I thought, I don't feel comfortable in trusting somebody I don't know, that I'm not quite sure about. And some of the people that I was talking to go into someone's home, and take care of a pet or overnight or whatever it was. So I actually, when I went back to real estate, I still had the pet sitting business because I had these two great girls that were, doing it for me. And then they both decided to go off to college. And then there I was.
Good. Now, why would you want to do that? You could dog sit or take a calculus test. Which one?
I know, right? So I let the business go, and I started because I could not find anybody that could replace those two young ladies. I was just having a heck of a time. And in the meantime, I was having to do it myself and try and juggle the real estate. And I thought, I'm going to drive myself insane.
Yeah.
This is a little crazy. So the company that we use for our own pet sitting needs, I actually talked to her. Her name is Elizabeth with Barking Life Concierge. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
No.
And I refer, business to her because I know that the pets are going to be taken care of and they don't have to worry about anything because I myself trust them.
Yeah.
So that I just start every time I would get an inquiry, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. We're not taking clients right now, but this is where you can go and you'll be well taken care of,
Yeah.
And
by the way, do you need to sell your house type deal?
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny.
Yeah, I'm a real estate agent too. Yeah. So, so that was in 2019. I let that go. And then, like I said, went full-fledged
all in
into real estate. And not long after getting back at it, landed a builder account with a custom builder locally.
Okay.
And that has been an incredible experience, and just a great relationship. In fact, we just finished our project here in Lilac Bend of 32 homes that were built because this builder was in a small pocketed community with Princeton as the other builder.
Yeah.
And Case and Gray Homes, predominantly they're a custom builder, and he wanted to take an opportunity to see how it would be to do some production build, and that's essentially how this little community came about, Lilac Bend.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. But that gave me a new appreciation for new build, and that arena and whatnot, and my desire to wanting to get into more of the development side of real estate as well. So that's something that I'm in the midst of working on, and we're also working on a new project too. So that's
great.
Yeah.
Great. Well, so tell me, in regards to your business or personal life, what are 3 non-negotiables for you? Which means, what are 3 things that you have to get done every day or every week or every month, that if you don't do, hey, hell's freezing over and this is, I'm not gonna end up doing as well as I was planning because I'm not doing what I said I was going to do. What are those three things that you do that set you apart from everybody else?
Gosh. You mean God, three non-negotiables. I want to head in my head, I'm going to like relationships,
Yeah.
staying in contact with people is important.
Past clients, you mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I can say that they are all great friends of mine. Uh, so that's pretty non-negotiable right there, I would have to
Yeah.
say. Keeping in contact with them.
Well, that's a great one. And because, I've keep interviewing all these real estate pros in Houston, and most of them have that deal. And they say it's just a must that, to get bigger and do more deals over the years, you have to stay in touch with your database. This business ought to get easier the longer you're in it because you're closing more and more every year.
Right.
And those people should be able to refer you. But I think so many people are transactional focused. They close the deal and then they're off chasing the next
The
one,
next thing.
and they forgot the last one that got them to the closing table. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's a great non-negotiable.
And it's probably the most important one too, because why this business is a relationship business, right?
Right. Yeah.
100%. And it's like
Yeah.
what you just said, if you're not going to view it that way, you're going to struggle. You just are.
Yeah.
You're going to struggle. Yeah.
So do you have a certain system that you use to keep up with the database?
I mean, I'm just, old school kind of girl, I mean, the
Hmm.
text, a lot. I do a lot of texting. Um, I out in front of them, like I'm constantly, if I'm not reaching out to one to see if they want to go to dinner or do something, I'm
Yeah.
reaching out to another set of them, right? I want to be in front of them.
Hmm.
And I just want to be involved in their lives, because I care about what's happening to them, you
Yeah.
know.
You
But
bring up a good point because I hear, hey, I want to be your lender for life and I want to be your realtor for life. And yet you only talk to them for about 3-4 months out of their life, and you expect them to remember you when they need you again. I'm
mhm,
like, no, you can't be a realtor for life if you don't talk to them during their life.
yes, that's correct. Yep.
Yeah. All
Um,
right. So you got that's a great one. I'm not even sure I need number 2 and 3, but that is super important. But do you have a couple more?
n- um, gosh.
Like new business generation? Or do you have hey, I've got a prospect or lead generate this week or this month? Do you have a system to do that every week or every month?
Well, I take Mondays to, especially if I'm coming off of a weekend where I've done open houses.
Mhm.
Mondays are really my follow up and weekly report day. I like to call it, especially for my sellers.
Mhm.
Monday mornings, they know that they're going to get, like let's say we're on the market for a little bit, especially right now, right? Like I have one. Um, they're not. It depends on the house, though, obviously, but most are not selling in 2 and 3 days.
Yeah, shocker. It's back to the normal market.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they just know that they're going to get a full report from me on what has happened during the week on Monday morning.
What
They
all do you
know.
do? What all do you report to them?
I like to keep them abreast of like what's going on in the market in general. I send them this, like HAR puts together this great weekly snapshot
Mhm.
of these graphs, that talks about days on market and pending sales, and I mean everything that's going on.
Do they break it down by, and I'm sorry to interrupt you,
Oh, it's okay.
but do they break it down by the city or a neighborhood, or how's that
We
broken down?
don't. It's just as a whole.
Okay.
But I will tell you that I've had clients tell me, "Hey, we love that you send us this information.
Hmm.
It helps us to better understand what's going on,
Yeah.
with the market, because we wouldn't know otherwise if you weren't sharing that information with us."
Right.
I mean, any other little tidbits that I can get my hands on, I'll I just like to flood them with as much information, education, whatever I need to do. I do. So
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. Well, I can tell why you're one of the better ones around town. You're doing two things, and I know a lot of them don't news. So it's very encouraging to hear. So, what are some challenges in your business right now?
um are we gonna be honest here? Yeah, we are.
Great, honest,
uh,
nothing but honesty here.
the challenge of helping people understand that it's not all gloom and doom out there.
Yeah, it'd be good. It'd be good if they just turn off the news every now and then.
Yes, and that's what I tell them to do, but I'm still getting a lot of pushback, on, "Oh, but the rate and the rate and the rate." And I say, "You know what though? You're never going to see 3%.
Yeah. Well, good
Probably
for
never."
you. I just set in on a financial webinar, I guess, and he was saying, "Look, you need to get over. You're not probably not going to see 4% again, because those numbers were so they were artificially low to begin with
Yep.
because the federal government bought billions and billions of dollars of mortgage-backed securities to prop up the economy so it wouldn't have a total collapse during COVID.
Mhm.
And so there will be no reason for them to do that again, unless there's another COVID outbreak that is another pandemic. So,
God
you
forbid.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I've been in the business 28 years now, and most of my career has been in the 5 to 6, even low 7% range. So this is the normal. What happened the last 2 years? That was not normal.
Mm-mm.
And so I think the longer these rates kind of stay where they're at, the more people will begin to realize, hey,
And understand.
this
Oh,
is
okay.
this is where they're going to be. Now you may get them down into the low fives, mid to low fives, but I think you're right. The threes are definitely out, and fours are very, very unlikely.
Slim to none. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
and I tell people, please try and, open up your mind and your memory to where the rates were pre-pandemic.
yes,
You know what I mean?
yeah. I
Now
know we can't
we
remember
fell
back
into
that
a
far,
bubble and a black hole for a little while. Okay.
right?
Call it the pandemic. And now we're out of it, and we're back to normal life.
Yeah.
But to help them understand that, they feel like I had somebody tell me one time, they feel like they missed the bus.
Really.
They actually said that to me. I said, "No, you haven't missed the bus. There's so many creative ways that a loan can be structured, and
Hmm.
your payment's going to be affordable, and you can't get stuck with the regret that you didn't jump on that when you thought you should have."
Right.
It's not over by any
Right.
means. It never is. It's
No, I mean
there's
the
always ways.
people were buying houses back in the late 70s and early 80s when interest rates were, 15, 17,
12%. Yeah.
18%.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, people will buy houses no
Regardless.
matter what the rate is. And man, they just have to get in their head that a 5 3/4 rate, ours is in the upper fives right now, low sixes, and you just have to get to the fact that hey, that's a pretty good rate when you look at the scheme of things. It really is.
It truly is, because when we moved here in 2008 and we bought our house, we got a 5.5 and we thought
Yeah.
that was fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? So,
Yeah.
I mean, do you feel like, are you hearing that too, Mark? Are you getting some pushback? Are you?
Yeah, I think everybody has looked at the last 2.5 years and think they think that was normal. So
Mhm.
I'm trying to educate with videos and post and different things like that. That hey, this is not the new normal. This is the old normal. So yeah, we're getting the same thing that you are, and so we're just trying to educate
Right.
agents as best we can, do things that we can provide the agents that they can provide to their buyers or prospects that are out there. That hey, it's a great time to buy, especially with prices down a little bit. At
Yeah.
least
Prices
now
are.
you're not having to
Yep.
bid $20,000 above asking price because you're
Nope.
the 15th offer that comes in that day.
Mhm.
And so the people may say they want these low rates again. Well, that all that would do would be put them out of the market in regards to the assets that they have available to compete with 15 different offers. Right now, they don't have to compete with that. All they have to compete is whether I need to move, get in this house or that house, and I don't have to compete against 15 other offers.
Well, and also too, sellers are back to being more flexible and negotiable, whereas they weren't being.
Right.
It now we're back to, okay, now they're willing to give concessions if they have to,
Yeah.
pay for the title policy like
Right.
they used to.
Right. Right. That's exactly
I mean,
right.
I was seeing some crazy things last year. I mean, when you as a buyer are foregoing your option period and your inspection,
And appraisals.
dangerously wrong there.
Yes.
You have put yourself and the seller, not to mention, at so much risk. It's not only the buyer it's the seller too. When you
Yeah.
when you accept a buyer to come to you and say, "Oh, we want this house really, really bad, so forget an option period. We don't have to have one, and we can forego the inspections." People don't understand that they're not only at risk, but the seller is too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. We
yeah,
had I have another podcast called Inside Houston Real Estate, like I was telling you earlier, and we had an inspector on there, and I said, are you having people come back and after they close and then get an inspection? And he said, we've had a few, and he said, and it doesn't happen all the time, but he said that's when they freak out, like, oh my God, had I known this had a bad roof or a crack in the foundation or something, I wouldn't have purchased it. But that's the mayhem that everybody got involved with
yep.
because rates were down so low. They lost their minds in doing things that were very, very uneducated.
And overpaying for a house
Yeah.
with all
Yeah.
those, the appraisals being waived all over the place. I'm like, oh my God.
Right. Right. Well, so let me switch gears a little bit to, do you have a team or do you do most of everything on your own?
No, it's just little old me.
Just you.
Just
And
me.
you're doing enough volume, and I know that all the things that you do, I mean, it's got to keep you busy with taking the contracts and making the right offers and doing your Monday updates and things like that.
Yeah, and I've I I was told at the beginning of the year that I should probably get some help. So that I will say that that's a goal this year. You know,
Okay.
yeah, is to grow a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, you like add an assistant or a buyer's agent, or you want
I'm
little
thinking more a
agents?
buyer's agent,
Yeah.
because we have transaction coordinators that can pick up a lot of slack on one end, with all the contracts and whatnot. I feel like having a buyer's agent is probably a better way to start adding versus the other way, because, those transaction coordinators, they're there and ready to go. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, tell me about the first time you bought a house. What was the experience like? When was it? How old were you? And did any of that have anything to do with you jumping in saying, "Hey, I think I can do this," or I would love to do this"? What made you go into the real estate business?
My husband, let me tell you why, Mark. We're going to go back to when I met him in El Paso. So when I met him, I was a leasing consultant at an apartment complex, and he moved in.
Is that right?
So yeah, leasing to the customer and then dating them later and then marrying them, which is what I did.
I got a feeling we're going to have 2 or 3 podcasts, and we're just going to have to cover all this stuff.
I know.
And yeah, we got to get the details.
So when we moved to Houston, he said, "You know what? Maybe you should go into real estate." And I said, "Honey, I have this degree. I need to try and use it." Or, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I paid for school to do, to do the medical field. And I said, I want to at least give that an opportunity and try. So, and that's essentially what I did. I started in weight loss and then went from there, worked for several chiropractors after the fact. And then one day, the very last office that I was working, I would, okay. So this office had a very large window to the left, and I had to stare at a RE/MAX office every day. I'm not kidding. It was right there in my face as I'm charting, answering the phone. If I wasn't with a patient, I'd look up and, there's, okay, every day RE/MAX, every day RE/MAX. And I kid you not, and it's not an exaggeration. I got off work early one day. I had an early shift. I left. It was like 2:00 in the afternoon. I even remember. Drove straight to Champions Real Estate School, walked in, threw my credit card down, and I said, "What do I need to do to get some classes to get licensed?"
Is that right?
And she said, "This is what we need to do." I said, "Okay, there's my credit card. Can we just, And so I did that. I went home. And then not long after, my husband came home. I said, "I have some news." And he said, "What?" I said, "I just bought real estate courses. I'm going to get my real estate license." And he went, "You did what?" I said, "You've been telling me all this time to get my license. Here I am. And now you're shocked." Okay.
So did you just absolutely quit your job and then move in? Or
I actually did it. I actually kept my job part-time for a bit.
Okay.
Before, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So thinking back on how and when you got started, what would you tell yourself now that you have learned that if you were to start over, you'd have done something different? Maybe there's nothing, but I haven't found anybody that says, "No, I'd do it exactly the same way." And you're welcome to be the first.
Wow. I have to think about that, Mark.
Well, we can come back to it.
Yeah, you've stumped me there. I have to think about that.
Okay. Well, don't let me forget. I'll come back to it.
Okay.
So let me see. What are your goals for this year? What are you trying to get accomplished this year in regards to production or number of units, or some personal goal that you want to reach this year?
My family, we have a lot of veterans in my family, my father included.
Okay.
And I've had, my share of helping them get into, purchase their home. So that's something I'm changing gears a little bit this year, and I want to get even more involved in the veteran community.
Okay.
And only because they're so underserved.
Mm.
It's staggering when you hear the statistics, most of them, they don't even know they have the benefit,
Yeah, that shocked me because I've heard that from, I've heard it from veterans. I'll ask them, when they call in, are you a veteran? And then, somebody said yes. And I said, well, you want to look at the VA loan? And he was like, what do you mean? What is that? I'm like, gosh, why does not the
see,
veterans
yes,
VA department tell them about this?
we
Because
don't.
that is the best loan program available, no
It
matter
is. It's
across the board.
100% finance. That's what I tell people.
Yeah. No
So
MI.
not exactly. So that's something that's on my list of, many things.
Okay.
Is to just help them just get more educated on what has been awarded to them for their
Mm-hmm.
sacrifice.
Okay.
Truly.
Yeah.
Very, very sad.
Yeah.
And then just continuing, to build more relationships, maybe with some more builders locally, some more custom builders.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's truly where, I see outside of the veterans, obviously, but more of that development is really where I see myself headed. So
Yeah. So do you take time, uh, every week or month or once a year? Do you take time to sit back and grab a cup of coffee for a couple of days and just really plan out your next month or year? Like, how do you get away from it for a while to re-engage my business plan for the next year? Do you have a set time to do that?
well, I mean, you have to grab moments when you can. And sometimes you have to be intentional about that time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Does that make sense when I
Sure.
say intentional? Yeah.
Yep.
Um, I and it's hard in this business because family time is just so precious. And this business can take away very easily from family time.
Yeah.
If you don't find a work balance, type of thing. I had at the beginning of the year, I told myself, I want to see if I'm able to either take a Saturday or a Sunday off completely. And that is strictly family time.
Yeah.
No clients, no open houses, no this, no that.
No text, no email,
Yes.
just family.
Yeah. And I've been trying a little bit, and I have found, okay, nobody's dying because I'm not, answering the email in 2 seconds.
Right.
Now it's hard to not text somebody back, obviously, because we have to stay on top of things. That's the one thing that I will say that I can't seem to, I guess you say, drop, because I had a rude awakening. And let me just tell you this, not too long ago, we had gone to dinner with my parents, and the phone, it's either ringing or there's a text or it's a notification. Yep. You're like, oh, I got, hold on. And my father looked at me and he said, we're at dinner. Can you get off of that effing phone already? Oh no. And he was serious, Mark. He was
really
so upset. He goes, every time we go to dinner, you're on that damn phone. Why can't you just leave it? Can you just leave it in the car? I was like, I'm sorry.
Really?
No. And that really, it opened my eyes to how we're not paying attention to people around us.
Yeah.
Enough,
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
We're so engaged into who we shouldn't be, who should we be engaged with? the people sitting in front of us.
Right. You know, one thing I think that is a challenge for sure with anybody, and something that's helped me is as I got new clients or new agents and things like that. Just because a text came in doesn't mean that I may have read it right then, but I don't respond right then if I am in the middle of something or if I'm in with family, because I think if you train or set the train's not a good word, but if you set
Set
the
the
right
expectation.
expectation that,
Mhm.
hey, I'll text you back, but it may not be within a minute, but if you train them on, hey, every time you text, I'm going to text you right back. They're going to expect that all the way through the process. And so
Mhm.
I've really tried to work on that myself because family is very important to me. And man, if anything, in the last few years, I've realized that, man, this time can fly by. My kids are married now, and I have two girls that got married within 90 days of each other. And so we were so busy and having a lot of fun with them and growing up. And now you look back and think, God, where did that time go?
I know,
And
because
that's
it
what I
goes
don't
by
want
too
to.
fast.
Yeah, it does go by too fast. And it's like you said, people aren't dying because you don't respond within 2 minutes. Well, I mean, we're not doing heart surgery here and or reviving somebody. We're
Right.
actually just, letting them know that the inspection is back. Then that does not warrant an immediate, text. So good for you for noticing that and I guess, and good for your dad for letting you
Well,
letting you have it.
yeah, no, he needed to do that though,
Yeah.
because we don't realize it because we're just going through the motions. It's our
Yeah.
job, we're not. And I'm like, I have really got to get a handle on this because this is not good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
they're getting older. I mean, mom's almost 80. My dad's right behind her. It's of utmost importance because I
Yeah.
feel like as we get older, it seems to go quicker than when we were young. I don't know what
Oh
it
my
is.
gosh. You just hit it right on the head. We were
Well,
talking
it's
about
true,
that
Mark,
the other
because look, it was January 1st, just yesterday, I feel like. We're almost in April. Like we're almost halfway to March. I'm like,
day. I know.
what is happening?
I'm like, oh, you know what? We better just keep the tree up because it's going to
I
be put back
know.
up in a few months anyway. So,
I've actually thought about doing that. Let me tell you.
oh man. Well, hey, you know what? I told you that 30 minutes would fly. We're at
Yes.
42 minutes so far, and I
Wow.
want to ask you a couple
Okay.
more questions.
Okay.
So, do you feel like you're gonna build this up to be able to sell your business, or are you just going to be able to walk away at some point, or are you looking to maybe build a business that you can sell down the road?
I hadn't really thought about it, really, about
Okay.
what you just said, selling it later. No, I've
Okay.
always just thought about just walking away quietly into
And
the
when do you
sunset.
see that happening? Yeah.
Oh gosh, my gosh, not for a while. Yeah, because
Okay.
I'm gonna be. Oh, I hate to say the number, but I'll be 52 in July, so time is ticking.
Yes. Yep.
Um,
I'm 55 and I will be 56 in May. So, man, I just seemed like I got out of high school, last weekend, but that was a long, long time ago.
I know, I know. Oh my gosh, I can't even. Okay, anyway.
Okay, I will circle back around to that last question about anything that you would do differently, and if there's not, then I'm going to go to the lightning round that I kind of wrap everything up with.
Um, oh, something that I would change. Um, I couldn't think of anything.
Okay. Okay. That's perfectly fine. That's
Okay.
perfectly fine. Okay. So we're going to go to the lightning round. and then we'll wrap it up, and we'll end up being about 50 minutes, I think, by the
Oh,
time
wow.
this is all said
Okay.
and done. But
Okay.
all right, who is your favorite author or speaker?
Stephen King.
Stephen King, really?
Yes.
So you're liking all that weird stuff that he does?
His stories come to life in my head when I read his book.
Man,
And I'm in the midst of even writing my own right now. That's
your own book?
he has influenced me a lot in my writing.
Is
So
that right?
yeah, someday it'll be finished, I think.
Very cool.
We'll
I
see.
can't wait to get an autographed copy of it.
Oh,
So your favorite vacation spot?
Bermuda.
Bermuda. Been there several times?
Actually, my husband and I need to go back. That was our very first vacation together ever
Really?
when we were dating. Yes. And
Okay.
we talked about revisiting because we loved it so much. We actually wanted to move there.
Really?
No, and I'm not kidding. I wholeheartedly am serious when I say that.
I've
Yeah.
never been. I heard
It's
it's
beautiful. It's
beautiful.
beautiful. Yes.
Favorite pastime or hobby
Oh, anything that has to do with dogs.
with dogs?
Yes. Anything
Well,
has to do
I'm
with
going to
dogs.
send you some pictures of my dogs, and they're crazy. I got them for my birthday, and my girl said, "Dad will either take it to an Astros game, we'll go look at dogs, and I don't even remember the third one, and we were just going to go look at dogs. That's it. We were kind of down, and so I said, you know what? Let's go look at dogs, and we ended up getting two of them. And I wish to God I would have taken the Astros tickets because they have cost me a lot more than the Astros tickets would have cost. But they are great dogs, and Scout and Winnie are their names.
Oh,
Yeah, I'll
what breed
send
are
you
they?
pictures.
What breed are they?
Well, Scout is like an Australian cattle dog,
Oh,
and just gorgeous. But obviously, she's not chasing any cattle because she's fairly large. She eats way too much. We have to get on to her about eating
on
so
a
much.
diet. Okay. I,
Yeah,
I have
and
something
then
I can recommend for you.
okay, and then Winnie is like a Ridgeback. We got them at Bark. I don't know if you know where Bark's at,
Yeah.
but
Uh-huh.
we got them there, and yeah, so we don't know for sure what the full blood is, but they thought she was a Ridgeback. You being a dog lover, you may be able to look at her and tell exactly what she is.
You know what's funny is that our big boy Tucker, because we did DNA on him, and
Oh,
he's got some Ridgeback in him.
okay,
That's
really?
interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna send you some pictures, and you can
Okay.
give me a clue on them.
Okay.
Okay, your favorite? I got an idea what you're gonna say on this. Your favorite movie that you like? Is it a Stephen King movie?
No, surprisingly
Oh,
enough, it's not. I actually have
okay.
two movies and they're old. They're not, well, I say old, but I mean, they're not like super old. They're not like 1950s or anything. But I don't know what it is, but there's something about Terms of Endearment. Have
Oh
you seen it?
gosh, that is so sad.
It is, but I like to watch it because of just the art of their acting. Their
Okay.
performances are just I don't know what it is. It's just
Wow.
yeah.
Okay. All
And
right. Now, and
obviously
the
you
other
can
one?
tell I wanted to, act at some point in my life. Wanted to go that route. And the other one is Urban Cowboy.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
With is that Travolta?
John Travolta and Deborah
Travolta?
Winger.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Wow. My
Hmm.
wife is a big Urban Cowboy, fan. I never did. I don't even think I've seen the whole thing through. So
Oh, you have?
no, I guess that'll give me something to do this weekend.
See, there you go. Yeah.
So,
Watch it all
well,
over.
all right. Well, I tell you what, I really enjoyed this podcast, and it has been a pleasure to have you on, and we'd love to have you back, and we'll go little bit deeper into some business things. But man, it's been great to get to know you
Thank you,
like
Mark.
this, and hopefully you'll be able to share this interview with a lot of your past clients and say, hey, you know what? This is who I am. I would love to work with you again and just continue to do what you do by staying in touch. But it is just always great to meet new agents, and we appreciate the time.
Well, thank you, Mark. And like I said, it was an honor to do this with you. Thank you.
Well, great. So if anybody wants to call you about selling or buying, or I don't know if you do leasing, you can let us know that in a second. But
everything just short of commercial. Yeah.
Yeah. So give us all of your contact information. I know the number is scrolling below, but
That's right.
is there an email or a website that they could go to as well?
Yeah, they can go to my email is janice.bb southernliving@gmail.com. And my website is through my brokerage, which is Compass. And that is compass.com/agents/Janice-Breau/ I know that's long.
Okay. Well, that's okay. We'll put it on the description of the podcast.
Okay.
And in the description of the YouTube once we upload that. So it can be difficult, but it's very easy to copy and paste from the podcast and YouTube.
Okay. That's great.
All right. Well, if that's it, then I will let you go. And I'm Mark Zachary, by the way. I'm a broker and owner of Next Step Home Loans. We do financing throughout the entire state of Texas. So if you have any financing questions, certainly let us know. Information is free where I come from. And so we don't hesitate and mind at all answering those questions for you. My number is 832-504-9014, 832-504-9014, or you can visit our website at nextstephomeloans.com. All right, that's it for now. We'll see you next week on Real Estate Pros of Houston. And Janice, thank you again so much for joining us.
Thank you, Mark. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Real Estate Pros of Houston. Follow us on Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple, and iHeartRadio, and check out our main website at nextstephomeloans.com for more information on mortgage news, loan programs, and getting pre-approved for a home loan or set up a quick home buying consultation. We'll see you next week with another episode of Real Estate Pros of Houston.